Hello everyone. Today I want to share a story with you that's truly chilling. It's about a school like no other. At first glance it seemed like an ordinary place, but what happened there one night will haunt me forever. Let me take you back to the beginning. I'm a private school teacher, and I've worked in many schools over the years. When I joined this particular school, I was excited about the new opportunity, but from my very first day, something felt off. The school was too quiet, eerily quiet. At first, I brushed it off as my imagination, but after a few days, I couldn't ignore it anymore. I confided in a senior teacher and asked if they had ever noticed anything strange. They smiled and said something I'll never forget. "It doesn't just seem strange, it is strange." Then they told me a story that made my heart race, and now I'm going to share it with you. This school wasn't particularly large. It had 10 classrooms, a computer lab, and a small office. The hallways were lined with framed photographs of inventors, leaders, and achievers, some still alive, others long gone. The school's owner was deeply involved in community work and often hosted volunteers from a religious organization. One evening, a young volunteer arrived for a meeting, and by the time they finished, it was quite late. The owner, being hospitable, offered him a place to stay in the school for the night. The volunteer agreed, and arrangements were made. It was summer, and power outages were common. The owner planned to turn on the air conditioning for him when the electricity returned at midnight. Everything seemed fine until the next morning. When the staff returned to the school, they found the volunteer sitting in a corner of his room, visibly shaken. His face was pale, and he was trembling uncontrollably. When they asked him what had happened, his story was beyond anything they could have imagined. "After you all left," he began, his voice shaking, "I decided to sleep early since I had to wake up for prayers. As soon as I lay down, I heard a knock at the main gate. I thought it might be you, so I went to check. But when I opened the gate, no one was there. I felt a little uneasy, but convinced myself it was just the wind or my imagination. I went back to my room, locked the door, and tried to sleep. But then it happened again. This time, the knocking was louder. I rushed to the gate, but again, no one. At this point, I was feeling really scared. I told myself it was just my nerves and went back inside. But then the most terrifying thing happened. The knocking started again. But this time, it wasn't the main gate. It was my room's door. The volunteer paused for a moment, gathering his thoughts. "My heart was pounding," he continued. "I knew I was the only one in the school. I started reciting prayers and slowly approached the door. When I opened it, I couldn't believe my eyes. The framed photographs in the hallway of generals, inventors, and leaders, they were alive. They had stepped out of their frames and were standing in front of me, staring. One of them spoke in a deep, echoing voice, 'Come outside. We need to talk.' I panicked and slammed the door shut, locking it from the inside. But then the impossible happened. The door swung open on its own. They grabbed me by the arms and dragged me into the hallway. They started chanting something in voices that didn't sound human. It echoed everywhere, and I felt like I was being pulled into a dark void. The fear was too much. I fainted. When I woke up, it was quiet. They were gone. I searched for my phone to call for help, but it was missing. Terrified, I spent the rest of the night sitting in a corner, waiting for the sun to rise. When morning finally came, I stepped outside and found my phone lying in the courtyard. That was it. I couldn't stay in that school another minute. Since that day, no one has ever stayed overnight in that school again. So, what do you think? Could it have been his imagination? Or was there something truly sinister about that school? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more chilling tales. Until next time, stay safe and take care.